Tonight's campfire conversation begins with one of the most famous moral puzzles ever created. Imagine a runaway trolley racing down a track. Ahead of it, 5 people are tied to the rails and cannot escape. You are standing next to a lever that can switch the trolley onto another track. But there is a problem. On the second track, there is one person tied down. If you pull the lever, the trolley will change tracks and kill one person. If you do nothing, the trolley continues forward and 5 people die. This famous thought experiment was introduced in 1967 by British philosopher Philippa Foot, and it became known as the Trolley Problem. For decades, philosophers have debated what the correct moral choice should be. Some argue that the answer is simple: pull the lever. After all, saving 5 lives instead of 1 seems like the obvious moral choice. This line of reasoning is called utilitarianism, the idea that the right action is the one that produces the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Fans of science fiction might recognize this logic from a famous line spoken by Spock in the film Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. But there is another perspective. Some people believe that intentionally causing harm crosses a moral line that should never be crossed. From that point of view, pulling the lever means actively choosing who must die. Doing nothing means the tragedy was already set in motion by the runaway trolley itself. You did not cause the situation. You did not choose the victim. And that is the perspective taken by the creator of this channel. If standing beside that lever, the choice would be simple: step away. It would be tragic, yes, but it would avoid personally choosing another human being's death. And that is where things get interesting, because fans of Star Trek might suggest a completely different answer. In Starfleet Academy, cadets face a famous training exercise called the Kobayashi Maru. The scenario presents a distress call from a stranded ship inside hostile territory. If the cadet attempts to rescue the ship, enemy forces attack and destroy the rescue vessel. If the cadet does nothing, the stranded crew dies. The exercise is intentionally designed to be unwinnable. Its purpose is to test how a commander handles a no-win situation. But one cadet refused to accept that premise. That cadet was James T. Kirk. Instead of choosing between 2 doomed outcomes, Kirk did something unexpected. He rewrote the simulation program. He changed the rules. In doing so, he turned the unwinnable test into a scenario where the crew could be saved. Which raises a fascinating possibility. What if the trolley problem itself is really just another Kobayashi Maru? The puzzle assumes you only have 2 choices: pull the lever or do nothing. But Captain Kirk would probably reject that premise entirely. He might ask a different question. Why is the trolley running away? Is there a brake that can be applied? Can the track be blocked? Can the people be untied? Can the trolley be derailed? In other words, Kirk would search for a third option, not A, not B, but C. Because sometimes the real solution to a moral dilemma is refusing to accept the limits of the problem itself. The trolley problem forces us to choose between tragedy and responsibility. But Captain Kirk reminds us that the most creative minds sometimes refuse to accept a no-win scenario. So now the question passes to you. Would you pull the lever? Or would you choose to step away? Or would you try to solve the problem the way James T. Kirk might, by rewriting the situation entirely? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed tonight's campfire conversation, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future discussions. And if you have an idea for a future story, leave it below. Your ideas help keep the campfire burning. I'm Christy, and I'll see you next time. Pull up a chair, warm your hands by the fire, and remember, the fire never dies as long as people keep showing up.